I am walking from Chiang Mai Old City to the old train station because tonight I'm taking one of the most iconic journey in Southeast Asia. I am catching the overnight sleeper train to Bangkok. This is not just a train ride. It is a classic backpacking experience traveling on an old diesel train through Thailand countryside. For me, the journey is just as important as the destination. I arrived at Chiang Mai railway station almost 3 hours before my departure time. My train to Bangkok leaves at 5 p.m. and right now the entire station feels almost empty. Instead of waiting inside the train station, I walk out and find a cafe just beside the railway tracks. This is the Baristro at train station. A cafe with a railway theme that perfectly matches its location. There is even a railway track design leading into the cafe, and the interior has a minimalist industrial design. The best thing is, this place gives me a comfortable escape from the hot weather outside. I sit inside the cold cafe, charge my phone, enjoy a drink, and do some planning for the next parts of my journey. Time passes quickly, and about 30 minutes before my train departure, I leave the comfort of the cafe and return to the station. Around the train station, there are fast food shops and the usual convenience store. So I see many travelers stocking up on water and snacks for the overnight journey. For me, before any long distance trip, I usually keep my stomach light. This helped me to avoid any unexpected problems, especially when traveling for many hours without easy access to the toilet. Now, it is almost time for my overnight train adventure to Bangkok to begin. I am back at Chiang Mai railway station again, and this time the atmosphere feels very different. There are already more travelers waiting around the platform, getting ready for the overnight journey ahead. For this trip, I'm taking train number 14. This train departs Chiang Mai at around 5:05 p.m. and arrive in Bangkok the next morning at around 5:55 a.m. Boarding usually starts about 30 minutes before departure. Train number 14 is a classic choice for travelers who want a more traditional railway experience. Unlike the newer trains, this service still uses older style carriages, giving it a nostalgic feeling that reminds me of the golden age of train travel. The train is still stationary, and there are no passengers inside yet. So, this is the perfect time for me to have a quick look around. Let me randomly peek through the window. This looks like the third class sitting carriage. There are only hard seats here, no sleeping berth, but this is also the cheapest option, costing around 300 Thai baht. Now, I walk towards the middle of the train and find the restaurant car. This is the kitchen area where the meals are prepared during the journey. I need to remember this location because I will probably come back here later tonight. Each carriage is roughly 24 meters long, and a long-distance overnight train like train number 14 usually connects many carriages together. With around 10 to 14 carriages, the entire train can stretch for a few hundred meters. I do not have much time left to explore the train because I need to settle down at my seat. I am in carriage 10, seat 1. There it is, carriage 10. Let me get on board. I booked a typical second-class sleeping carriage, and I paid 771 Thai baht for an upper berth. This is the standard second-class sleeper setup on the train number 14. Right now, you cannot see the upper berth yet because it has not been prepared. During the daytime, this area works like a normal seat. Later tonight, the staff will transform it into a sleeping berth. For now, I take my seat and enjoy the beginning of the journey. Before the train starts moving, I quickly secure my bag on the upper luggage rack. Typically, on long-distance train, luggage space is always limited, so it is better to find a good spot early. Here is where all the clean bed linens are stored. They are kept inside this huge plastic bag, ready to be brought out later when the staff prepares the sleeping berth. This is an old train fleet, and you can really feel its age. Most of these stainless steel carriages have been running around for decades. They may not have the modern features of newer trains, but they are built strong and reliable. You can see the signs of age, the faded plastic, the classic interior, and the lack of modern convenience like the USB charging ports. There is also space underneath the seat where I can store my luggage. Everything is ready now, and before the train starts moving, the train staff begins checking everyone's ticket. The overnight adventure from Chiang Mai to Bangkok is about to begin. The train departs exactly on time at 5:05 p.m. This overnight train journey is one of the must-do experience for many backpackers traveling around Southeast Asia. As such, I'm not surprised to see many Western travelers around me. This is especially true for the older train carriages. Many local travelers prefer the newer trains, while international travelers often come here for the classic railway experience. The train quickly picks up speed, reaching around 70 to 80 kilometers per hour, which feels even faster than the cars traveling outside the train. Before I know it, the train leaves Chiang Mai City behind and enters the countryside. The air conditioning is very powerful during the journey, but I heard it can get much colder at night. So if you are sensitive to cold, bring a jacket with you. Now we are approaching sunset, and this is the best time of the day to look outside. Train number 14 runs as a special express services, stopping at only major stations along the way. The first important stop is Lamphun, just south of Chiang Mai, where the train arrives around 5:30 p.m. and stops briefly before continuing the journey. The scenery outside the window is beautiful, with countryside view stretching very far away. Unfortunately, the windows on this old train are quite aged and scratched, so it is difficult to capture the true beauty outside. At around 6:30 p.m., the train reaches Doi Khun Tan, a beautiful mountain area and home to the Doi Khun Tan National Park. This is one of the most exciting parts of the journey because the train passes directly through the mountain using the Khun Tan tunnel. This is the difference between traveling by road and traveling by train. The train cuts through the mountains and national park, taking a route that cars cannot experience. Once the train enters and exits the long Khun Tan tunnel, the sky becomes dark, and the rest of the journey to Bangkok continues through the night. At this moment, I look outside and see the sun setting over the horizon, with the mountains and valley below me. This is probably the last chance to enjoy the dramatic scene before darkness arrives. At around 6:48 p.m., the train staff comes around and start preparing the bed for the night. I guess they are already very used to passengers filming them while they work. It only takes the train staff about 3 minutes to transform the seat into sleeping berth. He does not just prepare the bed sheets, he also changes the pillow cover and makes sure everything is ready for a comfortable night. Honestly, I do not even make my own bed this quickly. Now, it is time for him to prepare my bed. My bunkmate asks if you can swap position. He prefers my upper berth because he wants some quiet time up there, while I take his lower berth instead. Of course, I agree. The lower berth is usually a little more spacious and convenient, so it turns out to be a nice surprise for me. With my bed already prepared, it is time for me to explore the train and make my way to the canteen car. On the way, I walk past more second-class sleeper cabins like mine, although their beds have not been made yet. One thing I immediately noticed, these old trains are really shaky. Look at how much my camera moves while I'm walking, especially when crossing between the carriages. With the doors open, it feels like one wrong step and I could be thrown out of the train. So, I have to be extra careful. I walk into the third-class seating carriage. This is the simplest option, just basic seats and fan. The seats are fully upright, but luckily it's not crowded, so passengers can stretch their legs or relax more comfortably. Train number 14 includes this older style second and third class seating cars along the route. Next, I enter the second class seating cabin. This feels like an upgrade as compared to the third class, with softer reclining seats and a layout that feels closer to an airplane. Most importantly, it has air conditioning. Now, I have to cross another gap between carriages. The train shakes a lot as I move, and I always feel a little nervous because these connections are open to the outside. I quickly move into the next carriage. The corridor is long and dim, with signs showing the age of this train. Cold air from outside blows through the gaps and window, and before I know it, I arrive at the restaurant car. To be honest here, the interior of the restaurant car looks old and very worn out. I am given a menu with different set meal, but then I found out many choices are unavailable. So why have so many options on the menu? In the end, I just take whatever is available. The price is actually not bad. Around 190 Thai baht for the meal. It takes the staff about 5 minutes to prepare. The food is not restaurant quality, but considering everybody else in my carriages is having burgers and snacks, my meal feels almost like fine dining. The pad moo is a little weak, but the soup is surprisingly nice. The spring roll is not very crispy, and the watermelon is just watermelon. I am not sure why I am the only person eating dinner here. Maybe people think it is expensive, or maybe the food reputation is not good. I really do not know. The canteen car is not modern. The seats are shaky, the carriages is noisy, and my seat keep bumping into the passenger behind me until he finally moves away. This becomes the most memorable part of the journey. It feels like I'm traveling back in time. The atmosphere, the service, and the whole experience reminds me of taking the old KTM train in Malaysia back in the 1980s. At around 7:15 p.m., the train reaches Lampang and stops for a short break. This is the perfect chance for me to quickly finish my meal before the train starts moving again. I have already experienced how much this train shakes. I really do not want my dinner flying everywhere while eating on the move. How I wish I could stay longer here in the train carriage. But the cold wind blowing through the carriage reminds me that it is time to get back inside. The journey continues into the night. Here is the basin and toilet review. The common wash basin is clean and simple, and the toilet is pretty much the same. Other than the old and worn-out walls, the toilet is actually cleaner than I expected. Of course, using the toilet on a moving train requires some extra care. By now, I am starting to feel a little motion sickness, especially while walking through the shaking train. So I decide it's time to head back to my bed. Walking through these moving carriages is not easy, and I have to be careful not to accidentally fall into other passengers, because that would really be embarrassing. And please excuse the shaky cameras. It is not my filming skill this time. The train is genuinely shaking a lot. This old railway experience is definitely more exciting than I expected. By the time I reach my carriage, all the beds has been prepared and the curtains already drawn. What welcomes me is a sea of green and blue curtain as I walk through the carriage. And finally, I see my bed. The blanket and sheets are still wrapped in plastic, and they feel clean and fresh. By around 8:30 p.m., I am probably somewhere in the Phrae province. Outside the train, it is completely dark now. There is no Wi-Fi on this older train, and the mobile signal is quite unreliable, only appearing when we pass through towns or built-up areas. So the best thing I can do now is simple: enjoy the rocking motion of the train and go to sleep. I was woken up at 5:15 in the morning. Reveille. It feels almost like an army wake-up call, because the train staff is already walking through the aisle, calling out and prepare everybody for arrival. I check my location, and I'm somewhere near the Pathun Thani province. Outside the train, it is still dark, but inside the carriage, a new day has already started. The smell of toothpaste fills the air as everyone wakes up and get ready. Sleeping on this train is not perfect for me. The constant movement, the shaking of the train, and the sound of air rushing outside gives me a strange feeling, like we are speeding through the darkness. But even with that, I still prefer this overnight train compared to an overnight bus. At least on a train, my entire body is horizontal. By around 5:40 a.m., the train reaches Don Mueang Airport area. I start seeing the lights of Bangkok outside the window. And I know my final destination is getting close. Then the train staff begins the morning routine. The beds are collected, the sheets are removed, and the sleeping cabin slowly transformed back into a normal sitting carriage. The cycle repeats itself again. From seat to bed and back to seat. This is the life on an overnight train. At 5:50 a.m. in the morning, the train finally arrives its terminal station, Thep Aphiwat Central Terminal in Bangkok. This is my first time stepping into the massive railway station, and I immediately feel a little lost. Maybe it is because of the overnight train sleep quality, or maybe it is because the sheer size of this railway train station. Thep Aphiwat Central Terminal is Bangkok's main railway hub and one of the largest railway train stations in Southeast Asia. The station was designed as a future-focused transport hub with a huge amount of space for Thailand's growing rail network. The scale of this building is incredible. It almost feels more like an airport terminal than a traditional train station. It is time for me to leave Thep Aphiwat Central Terminal and continue exploring Bangkok. There are two urban transit lines serving this huge railway hub. The MRT Blue Line is the underground line that connects passengers towards central Bangkok, while the elevated SRT Red Line connects the station with areas including Don Mueang Airport. For my next journey, I'm taking the Red Line. As a first-timer here, it takes me a while to find the platform and ticket machine. This train station is huge, and the signs can be a little bit confusing when you are carrying a luggage after an overnight train. But I will just take it as part of the travel experience. Finally, I have arrived in Bangkok. Thank you for staying with me throughout this Chiang Mai to Bangkok overnight train adventure. If you enjoyed this journey, drop a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to follow me on the rest of my travel adventures. I will see you in Bangkok in the next video.